Okay, this is the special Canvas training session specifically for special education teachers. And if you could, in the chat room, make sure you put your email address so that we can make sure that we can get you PD points for this. I have a short survey at the end of this as well that's just going to make sure that if you have any additional questions that you need answered, we can go ahead and get those recorded. Please make sure that you let all of your teammates know that these sessions are being recorded and they will be posted to the EdTech YouTube page. And I can show you how to find that here in a second. But we are going to go ahead and start with our special education template. So I have made this for those teachers who kind of just need a starting point or a launching pad. And it's just a special education template. Um, I've kind of been going through some of the best practices that teachers have been posting. I've gone through a ton of different forums on special education and Canvas, trying to see if there were any special education teachers who had been using Canvas previously. Um, there were not a lot, but I did find a few, and those that I found were absolutely willing to share. And so I've pulled some of their best practices and some of their trial and error um, and tried to build it into this. And as you guys know, you don't need me to tell you that special education has its own challenges. And those challenges are not impossible to put into distance learning. And there are definitely some ways that we can make it a little bit easier. So the first thing that everybody is concerned with is the fact that you have individualized education plans. That's what IEP stands for. So you really need individualized lessons for your students. The second thing is that not all of you teach the same. Some of you have lab classes, some of you have self-contained classes, some of you just pull out to do reinforcement from regular education courses. Some of you are just monitoring students on 504s or monitoring their IEPs just to make sure that they stay on track in their courses. So we really have to have a lot of flexibility within the special education Canvas course. We also have an added measure of FERPA. We have some students who are on IEPs and their classmates don't know that they are on IEPs, and we certainly don't want to broadcast that information. We have students who are on IEPs where they get very specific individualized training or accommodations, and we don't necessarily want anybody else. In fact, you can't let anybody else know that those students are getting those special accommodations. So we have to keep that in mind as well. So I've taken all of that into consideration and gotten some help from some actual spec ed teachers in California and some other schools where they've been doing this for a little while. But I need your feedback as well. So as I'm going through this, if there's something in here that doesn't work for more public schools the way we do it, or it doesn't work for you, please let me know, because this is by all means not the only way that we can teach this course. And we're going to have our own individualized ways that we do this. So this is one way that I found that might work. And if we need to tweak this, we can absolutely tweak this. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get a copy of this. I have put this in the More Public Schools Commons, and I'm going to be updating it as we go. So I want to show you how to have access to it. So the first thing, and remember, you don't have to do this as we go through the training. It's recorded. So if you just want to take notes, or if you just want to kind of watch and absorb and then go back and work through this later, you can. But the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to your dashboard. Actually, I'm sorry, your courses, and you're going to click on all courses at the bottom, and you're going to create a new course. Now, I want you to create a new course rather than use one that you've already been working on. And if you have, fantastic, I'm sure it's amazing. But I want you to create a new course just for this template so that the two don't cause problems together. So we're going to add a new course, and we're going to call this course, you can call it, you know, Mrs. A's Sandbox. And we're going to basically simply import our template into your sandbox. So then we're going to come over here to Commons on the left. And this is going to give us all of Canvas Commons. And so I have called it Spec Ed Template. So if you search on that, first option, since I'm the most recent to upload, is going to be this template right here. You can see it's an entire course. It's not just a page or a module. It's listed for all grade levels because we can change this and modify it for all grade levels. And we're going to go ahead and click on this, and we're going to import it into your sandbox. So on the right, you'll see this import download button. And you're going to choose your sandbox from the list of your courses. So let's see, there's the one I just created. So you would click on your sandbox, your blank course, and you're just going to import this entire course into it. And now you have a copy of everything that I have in this template. You can change it. Whatever you do to this doesn't change mine. It doesn't change anybody else's. It's yours to play with. So then I would go back to my dashboard. And I would be able to open that up. And you can see here it has the same image that my original does. So it's copied the course card, the home page, the assignments, the modules, everything that's in it. So you'll be able to open this up and see everything. Okay. All right, so now let me open up the course. All right, I'm going to edit this because I'm going to kind of modify this and make some changes to it, but I don't want to change the template course. So I'm going to use this sandbox that I've basically just created. Now, one of the things that is going to be super important is to set this up according to your grade level and your student needs. So if you've done the 4 sessions on Canvas training, then that should show you how to hide any of these icons here through the navigation and settings so that your students can't see it. So for instance, you do not want students to be able to look at everybody else's assignments. So you're going to mark out, you're going to delete this assignments tab. For FERPA, you should definitely delete or disable the people tab. They don't need to see who is in their class. You should probably go ahead and disable the pages and the files. Really, for the purposes of this, that home page and maybe the Clever button or some of the actual link icons are really the only thing that your students are going to need. We're going to run absolutely everything through this home tab. Everything that we make is going to be a clickable link, and it's going to navigate them just to their own materials. Okay, let's see. So the first thing that you are going to start is your home page. So let me show you what I've done here and show you how to edit it. So this is a page. If you've done the first 4 sessions, you should have just a basic understanding of how to build a page. I used a table. So I inserted a table into my rich content editor right here. I took the table properties and I changed them so that I didn't have any borders. I changed the border to 0. That way it looks like just a standard web page. It doesn't look like you don't get the lines for the tables, so it makes it look really clean. You can still see them. And if you see here, you can see the dotted lines where the table cells are, but the students can't see it. So there's a banner up here at the top. Everything that I did in this course, I did in Canva. I'm going to show you real quick how to use Canva. I think it's super easy. It's a little intimidating, but I'm going to really slow down and show you how to do all of these individualized buttons and everything. Okay. But for now, I just want to take you through the form and function of the course. So as your students log on, I'm going to show you the student view real quick. And you should do this anytime you're building a course. Go to the home page and click on student view. Now, what this does is it shows you exactly what this course looks like to your students, so you can make sure that all of your links work and you can make sure that all of your buttons work. But it also allows you to explore the entire process. So you can see the students' assignments, you can edit the students' assignments, you can submit the students' assignments within this student view, and you can see what that entire process looks like. So if you assign something, you can go to student view, look at that assignment, actually submit that assignment, and then go back into yours and grade it as if it was a real student assignment that has been submitted. So that gives you it's a unique way of looking at this before you even get students into your courses, because right now we know we don't have any rostered courses yet. Okay, so the students are going to come in. We have this set up as the home page. So this is the first page that they would see when they log into your course. On their dashboard, they would see that you obviously wouldn't put special education on your course card. You would want it to be personalized and you would want it to be non-specific. You wouldn't want it to say spec ed. So they would come to this first page and these are their different options. I would have you or your principal may ask you to record a video of yourself. You don't have to record an actual video of your face. You could just put a picture of you and then record the audio over it. That's definitely an option. You can also put in a video that somebody else has recorded of you with a cell phone is pretty easy. And that's just kind of introducing yourself to students. You guys are going to have new students who are coming into the grade level who may never walk into your classroom. So that first get to meet the teacher welcome back video or welcome back introduction that you normally would do on parent night, you're going to be doing through your video. You're going to use the upload and record media button for that, and I'll show you how to do that. You should also add a photo of yourself so that each day the students log into it, they can see a photo of you and kind of start getting that personal relationship, and that would just be uploading an image. So when you get this into your sandbox, you can add those videos and that image on your own. Now, I have these set up as individual links. And so each of these pictures is a link to another part of the Canvas course. So this check daily, this is something that you're going to model for the students. So every morning you would come into the classroom. This homepage would be up on your smartboard or on your document camera, on your projector. And you would say, okay, guys, let's see what we have in store for today. And you would click on the check daily. That's going to be your morning announcements. So I don't have any announcements created yet. But as you create announcements, that link will send you to each announcement for the student. There is also a link here for contact the teacher. So this is going to be for you guys more for the parents than for the actual students. So this is going to link to a page where you would add things like your email address. If you have a Remind or a Class Dojo or a GroupMe, any way that you currently communicate with parents, you can still keep that communication. If it's something that you already have set up with your parents and you are comfortable using it and your parents are comfortable using it, continue to use that. If you have a school phone number, you can go ahead and include that. And you can also make your email address and your contact app, the Remind, into links so that the parents can just click on it. And I can show you how to do that in a little bit as well. So this is kind of your documentation on if you have any questions, parents, here's how you can get a hold of me. All right, let's go back to the home page. The next thing that we have here that you can add to your page is, what is this for? This is going to be for your new 504 IEP students. So you may have a student who has never had a direct link to their counselor or the teacher who's doing their 504 monitoring. So that's where you can put an explanation in here. This course is for me to communicate to you for the purposes of your IEP, your 504, special accommodations in your class to monitor your progress. So you can go ahead and put that information here for those students who may be brand new and don't actually know what this course is for. This is Canvas Help. So this is going to be a link to all things Canvas. We are putting this together in the ed tech department. So this is going to contain links to things like, here I can go ahead and open that up. Kind of got it started here. So this is going to have the student training, the parent training, Canvas help guides that the parents and the students can look through if they have any questions. This is going to be short videos if you want to put here how to navigate through the course and how to find different sections, how to check on your grades, things like that. So we are going to be doing some of this through EdTech, and then you can add to this as you want. All right. Now there are a couple of more on here. This is school info. This is just a link to the website for Moore Public Schools. This button right here is going to be your actual content and what you're doing for your students. Okay. All right. So this is where we're getting to the heart of how do I set up my Canvas. When you click this, you're not going to be sent to a list of modules or a list of assignments or a list of student names. You are going to be sent to a list of student numbers, or if it's lower grades, you can do student icons like a puppy dog or a kitty cat. Remember, because of FERPA, we cannot have any identifying information in this course because all of your students are going to be seeing the same course. So we are going to come up with a way, you are going to come up with a way to identify your students. So if the first day of school, you want every student to pick an animal or every student to pick a number, or you simply secretly assign a number to the students. It needs to be done anonymously. Don't stand up in front of the class and say, Johnny, you're going to be the kitty cat, because everybody's going to know to find Johnny's work. They just click on the kitty cat icon. So you're going to get this information to the students, and then the students would learn that when they log in, they go to their to-do list, they open up their student number, and this is going to send them to their student page. Okay, this is just for student number 1. In this, you can do things like list all of their IEP information. Again, no identifying information listed, but you can have things in here like the goals for the individual students. You could have their monitoring schedule. You could have instructions for the parents. This is a really good place to provide parent links specifically for their students. So for instance, if you have, and I actually found a copy of it, it's a behavior intervention strategy or an education intervention strategy that the parents can use, because you know these parents are going to be doing a lot of these accommodations on at the home with the student helping us out. So any information that you want to give to a specific student, you know that one student has a set of challenges and their parents may need to set something up. So this could be using things like visual cues or chunking or scheduling or letting students know 2 or 3 steps ahead of time what's happening. All of the strategies that you have to use with a student in the classroom, their parents are going to need to know how to use those. So this is going to kind of be an overview for parents and students to make sure that they have access to all of that individualized information. And remember, anybody can click on that student number 1 button. So make sure that whatever information you have there, even if it's subtly, it doesn't identify the student, okay? All right, and then within this, we're also going to have a link to that student's modules. So here's where we're going to build the actual content, and we're going to assign things by the student. So individualized lesson plans. So this is where it gets a little bit fun, but that's okay because we can do this. You guys are used to doing this. We're just doing a little bit electronically. So I'm going to leave the student view, and I'm going to go back to my page, and I'm going to go to the modules section. All right, so here we go. When you're in a classroom and you have 10 students, and your 10 students are on 5 different grade levels for reading, you find material that is appropriate for each individual student. That's what you do. We're going to do the same thing here. All right, so let's take this. You can either do these modules as subject, or you could do them as groups. So for instance, let's say that you want to do one of your modules as reading group 1. Now, you don't want to put reading group high, low, or medium, because again, that's going to be giving information as to the different levels of the students. So that just in the back of your head, you wouldn't put on your bulletin board, Johnny, you're in the low reading group, so you go do the low reading assignment. So you're going to keep that same level of anonymity for the level of work that you do in the classroom. You guys are completely used to that. Okay, so there's a comment for 50 animals may be hard if you have 50 different students. I can actually show you how to make the icons. The icons are actually really simple. It's just a way to get to the students information. However, once we get to the assignments and assigning this per student, it'll work for the SLPs as well as the special ed. All right, so we're going to call this reading group 1. And within this particular module, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new assignment. Okay, and we're called this reading assignment 1. Now, this reading assignment 1 is going to be assigned to everyone in my reading group 1. So it may only be assigned to 3 students in the group. It could be assigned to 5 students in the group. It could be an introductory lesson that's assigned to all of the students in the group. So this is where it gives you that individualized flexibility. So whatever assignment you want to put in here, you can add a link to a video on YouTube of someone reading a story out loud. That maybe has the words in the story highlighted as they're read. You can do a video, insert edit media of you reading a story or you teaching a lesson that you can record in your home in the classroom, even just using your phone, and submit that. You can add a document. So you can insert a file into this, and it could be either a PDF that you want the students to read through or the parents to read through, or it could be a PowerPoint presentation that the parents can click through for the students. So all of these are different assignments that you can put in. You're going to give it a certain number of points for each assignment, and this is going to be the number of points that transfer into Infinite Campus. And then we are going to come down here. Some of you guys do completion points instead of
Sounds like Wendy's frozen. Is anybody else experiencing that? We'll give it just a minute and see if she comes back in. Wendy, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I can now. You froze there for a few seconds.
Sorry. Thank you very much for letting me know. I actually did that for a good 10 minutes on one training session. Okay, let me make sure that the recording is still going. Yep, we are still recording. Okay. All right, so let's see. We were on submission type. So whatever assignment that you create for the students, you're going to need to make sure that you have some way of getting that information back. Now there's 2 different ways to do this. The first one is an online submission where they can either record themselves giving you the response. So their grown-up can record them with a cell phone camera and then upload that file. They can also type their answers, or their grown-up can type their answers. They can do a file upload, probably not going to be appropriate for many of your students, but if you're getting some of those life skill lessons where you want students to be able to save files and manipulate files, you can do that. The second option that we have is called an external tool. So those of you who do Google Classroom, this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to add an external tool, and you can come down here and you can find, there's 2 different options. You can do a Google Drive Cloud assignment, or you can do an Office 365 Cloud assignment. What this is going to do is if you have a Google Slide or a Google Doc, it's going to give each of the students an individual copy that they can edit, they can manipulate, and then they can submit as their own work. And they will only have access to their own work. Same with an Office 365 cloud assignment. Now, the one limitation that I have found with this, and there's a workaround for that, is that you cannot upload a PDF to the Google Cloud assignment. So I have a great workaround for that one. I'll show you in a second. All right, so we are going to set this one just so that I can walk you through what that's going to look like. An online submission, and I just give them all of the options, however they want to get that back to me. Okay, unlimited attempts. Right here, this is where you're going to do your individualized lesson plan. Unclick everyone. Okay, because very rarely are you going to have an assignment unless you're in a contained classroom where you're kind of doing the lessons all together. But very rarely are you going to have an assignment that applies to all of your students. So this is where you can type the individualized names. So you can assign it directly to Wendy. You can assign it directly to John. You can assign it directly to Emily. And you can put as many of these different names as you want. Now, you can create student groups, and you can create a group of students that is just your reading group 1, just your reading group 2, just your reading group 3. But I know that sometimes those groups change for you. So for you guys, I would probably go ahead and stick with just putting in the actual students' names in the assign to. Now, yes, I have the unique link already put in, so we will definitely get to that. It was in the comment section, sorry. So one of the things that I want you to take a look at is the students are not going to see anybody else who's assigned to that particular assignment. So if you assign it to 10 students, they're not going to be able to see the other students that it was assigned to. So it keeps that very, very contained. Also, frozen again. Oh my goodness.
Actually, Wendy, I can hear you and see you just
You
fine.
can hear me? Oh,
Yeah, it might be Linda's internet maybe that's causing it, but yeah, I'm hearing
all
you.
right. We're having some internet problems here in the neighborhood
And
as
might I
well.
also recommend you might turn off, all of you that are watching, you might turn off your video if you are having a glitchy internet issue. That might help not
Yeah,
use
just
up
with
so much of
bandwidth.
the bandwidth. Mhm.
Great. Okay, so you can assign it to individual students and then save and publish this. Oh, it's saying you didn't assign anybody, Mrs. Argenbright. So here's what happens. For that particular module, my reading group 1, if I assign reading group 1 module to 10 students, but this assignment is only assigned to 5 of them, only those 5 will see it in their module. The other 5 won't see it at all. So that's where those student number 1, student number 2, student number 3 links come in. Because within each student page, I would post this module. So for instance, let's go back to the pages. I'm going to look at all of them, and each student has their own page, and it doesn't have to change. So once you set this, it's going to remain the same. You don't have to update these pages every week. That's the beauty of setting it up this way. So you would come in here, you would edit this, and when in here, you are going to add a link to their modules. So right here, you would come over here to links, you would go to modules, and you would say reading group 1. And I would assign this student to reading group 1. So then when the student came in, they would see their web page with all of their IEP information, all of their goals, and then at the bottom, it would give a list of the modules that they need to step through. They would click on this, and it would take them directly to their module. So they would click on reading assignment 1. Does that make sense? And they could see that assignment, and they can go ahead and submit it individually. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like actually from a student standpoint. So from student view, They would know this is that modeling that you would do in the classroom. They would know every day to check their announcements and every day to come to their student to-do list. And they would come and they would pick their number, and it would have a link to their module, and you would probably call this link something like daily reading assignment. Oh, I haven't published it. Goodness gracious. So, because this is a new sandbox, I just forgot to hit this little button right there. And this is why that student view is so important, because if you can find out all these little things before your students do, makes things go a little smoother. Okay, so student page 1, links to the modules. I did not publish the module. See, Emily, I'm leading by example.
It's good for them to see that we all are just trudging through this together.
Absolutely, absolutely. But thank goodness for student view. Oh my goodness. And you can always find that one parent that is all over their kids' homework assignments, or that one student who completes everything first, and make them your little helper and say, hey, I need you to make sure that you go through and tell me if something doesn't work. I had one of those in every single class. Okay, now this student is going to see both of these reading groups because they have assignments in both of these, but this is going to be their reading group assignment. And so they would go through whatever instructions you put, videos to watch, questions to answer. They would submit that assignment. They could submit a text entry. They could record themselves, or they can submit a file if it was an external assignment. And then when they are done, you have to have something. And they submit the assignment, they'll get that confetti. And all of the students love seeing the confetti, even my bigger kids. Okay, so just again, model that in the classroom. You're not done until you see the confetti. Once you've done the confetti, congratulations, you've turned in your assignment. Okay. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is you want them to know what to do next. So as you build out these modules from one to another, you can actually create orders. So if you want them to do their math before they move on to the reading, you can take this module here and you can say, I want to make sure that this module has a prerequisite. Okay, before they start doing this one, they need to finish the math, or they need to finish reading level A before they go to reading level B. So you can absolutely go through and make sure that they do this in a special order. All right, and then let's see. Within these individual assignments, you can do the same thing for these. So you can take these assignments and you can put requirements on them to make sure that they do the assignment before. They could do assignment 1 before assignment 2. And within the module, they'll have next and previous buttons. So you'll be able to model to them that when they're done with this assignment, they can hit the next button and continue on. My husband is dancing in the background and I'm going to have to kill him later. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. This is the general layout, and I would like to get some feedback from you guys. So if you would like to unmute yourself, let's just kind of stop and let me know, is this something that's going to work for you? Okay, so
You might look at Carrie's message. This is a good question. She's already kind of built something out.
yes.
She can certainly stick with what she's got. You've
yes.
got something that you've created in case any of you are needing a template, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This in no way is going to change how you do your classroom or how you've already set up your Canvas. This is just, we've had a lot of questions about, I teach spec ed. How do I possibly make this work when everybody's on their own individualized learning plan? Okay.
And we're kind of figuring it out as we go. We don't have a perfect way yet. So
Yes.
if you find a way that works for you, stick with it. And if you find wonderful things about it, share that with us,
Hmm.
because then we can share that with other people. We're all just kind of experimenting, trying to figure out the best possible scenarios of how to teach in a virtual environment. So
Okay, let me see. It looks like you guys are not able to unmute yourself. So let me go through here and change some of these settings. I'm going to open up participants. I'm going to allow participants to unmute themselves. There you go. Okay.
So do we have to use the numbers in our Canvas or in this template, or can we use if we've already made something else?
If you've already made something else and it is working for you, then absolutely keep using that. The reason that some of the teachers use the numbers is because it gives that individualized feel to each student. Also remember that if you don't assign something to a student, they won't see it. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to worry about Johnny seeing Susie's assignment if they have two different assignments. So that is definitely, and just make sure that you're
So,
very,
Wendy,
yes. Mm-hmm.
if we do a group assignment,
Okay, so let me show you how to do that.
they wouldn't be able, only the student, they don't see who else can get it too.
Depending upon how you do the groups. So
Okay.
within the people icon, remember the students aren't going to be able to see this, but on your course, once you get your student rostered course, and you should be getting that August 8th. So once you get your Canvas course that has your students listed, you'll be able to go in and assign groups. And so this is where you can set up your reading level A, reading level B, reading level C. Okay, you're not going to allow self sign up. You're not going to have Canvas set it up. You're going to create the group name, and then you're going to drag and drop students in there. So I would do reading group A, and then here would be a list of all of my students, and I'm simply going to drag and drop them into that group. Okay, so if you have a group that is pretty stable and it doesn't change, then you can use these. And then when you go to the assignment where it said everyone, you would be able to click on that and you would be able to see the individual student groups that you've created. And it doesn't have to, it can be a bunch of different groups. You can have reading group A that has Johnny in it, and then you can have math group C that has Johnny in it. So you can set up as many of those as you need to. Okay, Mrs. Self, you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wendy,
Yes.
so could you set up your modules as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then link their daily assignments? Because I do self-contained.
Yeah.
So then they know to click on Monday and then do all the assignments on Monday, Tuesday.
Let me tell you the best advice for the modules.
Okay.
You, as a teacher in a classroom, have a physical lesson plan, right? You write down what you're going to do. However you plan your lesson plan, that should be how you plan your modules. So you're not creating something that you're not used to. So if you plan daily, then you should have modules by the day. And you can unpublish the ones you're not using. So remember when I tried to click on a module and it said access denied, that's because it wasn't published. So if you don't want the students to see them, like if you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you're on Monday, unpublish Tuesday through Friday. So they can't see that, they can't skip ahead. So you can use that. You can also use the lock until feature. So you can set it up automatically. So you can have that module, if that's Tuesday's module, you can have it open on Tuesday. Automatically.
You would just know it's Monday, lock it until Tuesday, lock it till Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's automatic. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, I have a question as well, because you were saying that we need to individually upload lesson plans for each student, but as a functional teacher, Unique gives us most of our lesson plans. So then are we just going to be putting that in as our lesson plan and
Yep.
just possibly by day for each student and just do the differentiation levels? Okay.
So let me show you on the template that I have, and I need to update this on the Moore Public Schools Common. I have added a link directly to Unique. So when you download this course, you'll have it as well. So they would just click on this Unique and it would take them straight to the sign-in page that they should be used to. So they would come over here and they would sign in as a student. and then however you have them sign in normally. So if you're a functional classroom that uses Unique, there's your lesson plan right there. And then if you have any other type of online curriculum that you use, maybe that your school has purchased or your department has purchased, then you can add links to that as well. Now, one thing I need from you guys, if you want to use this template and you want different buttons, send me a link in the chat and I can come through and just make sure that everybody has access. Instead of everybody trying to recreate these and yours maybe look a little bit different, I can make whatever buttons you need using this particular template. And I'll go over that in a second. But I want to make sure, okay, there's a question about the passkey on the student page. One of the teachers had a really good idea for this. What happens if the student accidentally clicks on the wrong button and doesn't realize that they clicked on the wrong button? Because that page isn't going to have any identifying information. So you know how when you log into your bank and they ask you to pick a picture or a passkey that shows on your page so you know if you're in the right account? It's kind of the same thing. So you and that student would get together and say, okay, what is a picture that you like that you want me to put on there so that you know that you're on the right page? So if you don't see a duck, then you're on somebody else's page. Go back and make sure that you clicked on the right button. So that's what that passkey is for.
Wendy, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a way, because I really like the idea of the Canvas help, but
Mhm.
I've already started because I have high schoolers.
Yes.
So I have already started my Canvas and I realized last night, I'm like, wow, this looks like an outline. You know, how it's staggered. But my question is there a way to upload just the Canvas help information? Because
Yes.
I have a section that is just important information you need to know, and I want to put that Canvas help in there.
Absolutely.
So I also like the Zoom, being able to get into the Zoom.
Mhm.
So I would like to know how to do the Zoom. I'm breaking it down by units,
Mhm.
by like, we're learning about the Constitution, but this is day 1, this is day 2, day 3, day 4, stuff like that.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering, I don't think I need like the buttons and everything. I mean, like the numbers.
Yep.
But overall, do you think my idea is plausible?
Absolutely. If you're a contained class and all of your
Yes.
kids are doing the same thing every day, then those numbers aren't necessary. Those numbers are really good for, especially if you have pull-out students where you're just doing a little bit of work with each individual student, or you have like elementary levels, especially where you've got, 4th through 6th, 4 different subjects,
Mhm.
3 different grade levels, everybody's doing something different. And you may have in your classroom 3 different subjects at 3 different levels each going on at the same time.
Okay.
So that's kind of where the numbers come in, where the students can get their own stuff. But if you've already got something and you think that it's going to work and you've kind of played with it a little bit, then absolutely don't change that. So
Okay, so there will be a way to upload like the Canvas help, contact teacher, and the Zoom?
let me show you how to do that real quick. So the easiest thing for this would be, I went ahead and copied the entire Canvas course into my sandbox. So let's say I have, let me go back to my dashboard. So I've got, here's a demo page. Oh, that's somebody else's demo page. Let's do this one. Okay, so I have another class that I've already created, my own Canvas. I like what it looks like. I just want to kind of steal bits and pieces from other teachers. And this will work from your regular education teachers as well. So within here, I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to come over here to import course content. So I'm not importing from the Commons anymore. I'm importing from one of my own files or another teacher. So let's say that you have a regular education teacher who has their course already created. Week 1, they have an assignment. You want to link that assignment. You want to copy that assignment. What you're going to do is you're going to copy a Canvas course and you're going to search for that teacher's course name. I get everybody's courses. All right, so let's pull up one of mine. And I just want to click, instead of all content, I just want to click select specific content. And so then there's that course. I can just go in and select the individual content that I want to copy into mine. So I can copy in a module, or I can copy just an assignment, or I can copy, if you wanted to copy that Canvas help once we get it loaded, that's a page. So you would go into that course and you would just copy the one page that you want. Okay, so that's a great way of just getting a little bit of information or a lot of information or all of the information. Okay, all right.
So next question, if you take and borrow from someone, are we then able to make it our own?
Absolutely,
change
because
it.
you're not linked to their stuff at all anymore. This is in your course and it is your, it's all yours.
So if you take an assignment and you don't like questions 3, 6, and 7, you can take those out and put, nice.
That's your modification. That's your accommodations. And you may even use the same assignment, but mark off 2 of the multiple choice answers. So they only have 2 instead of 4. So all of the accommodations that you would normally make to a regular education class, you can still do here. So you can bring it in and then edit it however you want. So absolutely. Now,
Thank you.
there's been, let me answer the Zoom question real quick so that you guys can see how to do that. And then we'll go to the next question. So if you have a Zoom account, one of the things that you can do when you create your Zoom account, you're going to log in using your school email, and you are going to have a list of your meetings. So you can either schedule a meeting, but what I like to do is just use the personal meeting room because the link is the same all the time. You don't have to update the link every day, every hour. And so this invite link right here, that's all you need. So you're going to copy just this invite link, and it's long. Okay. And then within your course, where that Zoom button is, make sure I get to the right one. So whatever icon I want to use for my Zoom, I'm simply going to attach that email or that web address. So I would click on that image, come up here to link. I'm going to link it to an external URL. I'm just going to paste that entire thing right there. Now, here's the really cool thing. That link doesn't change, right? That does not mean that a student's going to be able to access your camera at 2 o'clock in the morning. You have to start the Zoom meeting in order for them to be able to log in. Okay, otherwise, just like you guys who got on a little bit early before I did, it said you're waiting for your host to start the meeting, and it would give them that same note. And then that's just always your Zoom. And it stays with that link. Okay, great question. All right, next question.
I was just wondering, how do we access the general education teachers' classrooms?
Great question. Let's do that. So you will need to go to the general education teacher, and we are really pushing for leadership to do this. So your building principal, if you can talk to them before that first faculty meeting, this is a great message to kind of get out to everybody. Your regular education teachers need to go to their courses and go to people. And they need to either add you in as a teacher. So they would do plus, and they would put your email address here. So I would say Kim Ross needs access to my stuff. And then there's a couple of different roles, and you can try out a couple of different roles and see what works for you. If you go in as a teacher, you're going to get all of the notifications for the teacher. So you might want to turn off those notifications. If you go in as a designer, then it gives you access to the material without necessarily the teacher notifications. So have them add you as a teacher or a designer to their course so that you can have that course on your dashboard and have access to it all the time.
I would
And
like
you can
to
just
to that, Wendy, I'm so sorry. But
Yes.
if you are added as a teacher to somebody else's course, you have to be very careful not to delete anything they have created. So if you are just following 1 or 2 students in a specific gen ed classroom, you might request that that teacher add you as an observer for those specific students rather than as a teacher, because you do not want to accidentally delete something a teacher has worked on. And we've had that happen already where somebody deleted someone else's course, the entire course. So if you are added as a teacher to someone else's course, please be careful because you don't want to delete anything.
So if we're added as an observer, will we still be able to get their assignments and import it into our class? Just as
Through the import feature, yes. Yes. And if you run into any trouble with that, just send us an email at mpsedtech@moreschools.com and we can help you figure that out. Now, you can also have the ed teacher send you material. So let me show you how to do that. So let's say that I'm a gen ed teacher and I have a specific assignment and I know that 3 of my students are going to be pulled out to work on this assignment with their special ed teacher. So I would take that assignment and I would open it up in my course and I would say, okay, I want my special education teachers to have a copy of this assignment because we're going to be working on it. I would hit these 3 buttons over here on the right and I would send it and I would just put in their email addresses. So I would send this to Emily. And then the next time Emily logs into her Canvas account, she's going to have a little number 1 up here at the top on her account picture. So she would click on that. That 1 is under shared content, so it would tell her exactly where to go. And then that assignment would be listed right here. So here's one that Rusty sent to me from his kindergarten group. So I would say, oh, I just got an assignment from my English teacher, my 3rd grade English teacher. I'm going to go ahead and import that into my 3rd grade English class. And then you would have that assignment in your course and it would be the exact same assignment. But like Emily said, you wouldn't, anything that you changed would not change the homeroom teacher's assignment. It would be your copy in your course. So great comment, Emily. Yeah, we don't want anybody messing up the courses.
I have a question. Sorry
ma'am.
Okay, this is a little off, but I've been wondering it since I did Canvas. Is there a way, so say I make an assignment, and what I'm doing now is I make an assignment, and then I have to go into every hour, upload it, you know, into the module, whatever, every single time. Is there a way to make one and put it across the board so I don't have to do that 5-6 times?
Yep. So what you're going to do is you're going to combine your courses. Okay. So, and I can show you with this science course here. So for instance, let's say that you have 5 different hours in the day but the material that you teach is the same for all 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a video on Andre's training course on how to cross-list courses. And I can send you a link to that access as well. Okay. But what I've done here is I've taken 3 science classes and I've combined them all into one course card.
Okay.
Now, the really good thing about this is it still keeps the students separate. So when I go in to create an assignment, I can assign that to all 3 classes, or just first period or second period or just third period. Or
Is there video on here to see how you can do that too?
For cross-listing, yes. Andre has the video for that. So to access that video, it's going to be in the Canvas for Elementary training course or in the secondary Canvas for Training course. So you should have either enrolled in this training course if you're secondary or this training course if you're elementary. But whichever one you've enrolled in, and if you haven't yet, I can send you a link for that. It's under training videos. And Andre has a great cross list video in here specific for more schools, because if you go to the Canvas guide for that one, it's a little bit different. Not, there it is. Cross listing, combining your sections.
Does that only work if all your sections are doing the same thing, or can you just cross list a particular assignment that you want to go to 3 different reading groups, for example?
Okay, cross listing and the groups are different. So cross listing is going to take 3 individual course cards and combine them all into one. So you only have to edit one. But within that one, you don't have to assign everything to everybody. So that's where you would use either the section groups or the student groups to assign it just to individual pieces. So think about your classroom. You don't have 3 different classrooms. You don't have a reading classroom, a math classroom, and a science classroom. You teach them all in the same classroom. And within that, at any given time, you're assigning one assignment just to a few students in that classroom. And so the cross listing gets everybody in the same classroom. And then the assignment groups allow you to assign it just to individual students.
Okay.
So if we're cross listing, it's not going to be able to say like hour 1, hour 2, hour 3. You know what I mean? Like, will
It would all be in the same
one together?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Should I do that first and then divide them so they know what hour to go to, so they can all go on one? You know what I mean? I don't have to do it 5 times, but then
Right. You can do that as well. So you can't cross list until after you get your student groups. So August 8th, when you get your individual rostered course cards, it'll basically be a blank course with all of your students listed under people. So what you would do first is you would cross list all of your courses into one, or if you wanted to do them by grade level, you can cross list them into the grade level. And then you would import your sandbox into that.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Some of you and Emily and some of the department chairs help me out on this one. So we've had some questions about how the paras can interact with the students and how the paras can contribute. So you may not necessarily want your para to do direct instruction, but you do want your paras to be able to interact with the students during a distance learning, or even within the classroom if they're back and forth. So you can add your para to people. So your para is not going to be an IC teacher, but you can add them on here as a TA role. So they can upload videos. A couple of good suggestions that I've gotten from some people is have your paras record themselves giving in a little announcement to the kids each day or each week. They can send inboxes to the students in the class. They can record a video and you can post that video to your Canvas page. They could read a story to the kids. So let's say you're doing a unit on the Constitution. They could read a short story, maybe about a fictional character from that time period or that era. So finding ways that they can still kind of interact with the students through Canvas, just add them as people. So you would just add them in, and instead of a student, you would add them in as a TA. And then they can interact with those students as well and kind of see what you're doing. So especially if you're working through something and they need a little bit of extra help, they can return to those paras for help, and the paras can see exactly what assignments they have. Okay. Oh, there's a comment in here. Time, ... When do we do all this? Nobody has an answer to that question. We've been asking ourselves that question since the day we decided to become teachers. And our husbands thought that it would be a 9-to-5 job. And we quickly found out that it wasn't. And especially for you special ed teachers, there's not enough time in a day, but we make it work. And we do it because we love these kids. And the kids love it because they don't expect us to be perfect, just like we don't expect them to be perfect. And so your students will meet you where you're at, just like you meet them where they're at. So, you know, my only comment to that is give each other grace and share. I don't know if you guys can do this all by yourself all at once. I don't think any of us really can. So share and help each other. Get your regular education teacher on board with sharing content with you. Get them on the phone, say, hey, let's go get a sweet tea and meet out in the parking lot 6 feet away and discuss how we're going to do this year. So whatever you have to do that. Okay, there was a question about importing a Bitmoji page for Circle Time. Any Bitmoji page can be inserted in here. The EdTech YouTube channel has a great video on using Google Classroom inside of Canvas. It actually integrates very well. You just have to embed the slides so that all of your links still work. Or you can just use Google Classroom or Google Draw to make your buttons or your banners and then add the links in later. So let me show you where that's at.
Wendy,
So,
quick question.
Yeah.
I noticed on that part it had it translate to English on that little box you had open. Is there a translate to Spanish for these parents that are solely Spanish speaking that want to help their children who are doing virtual?
That's a good question. Emily, do you have the answer to that one? I don't know. I do know that Google Translate works well, and if they're using a Google Chrome browser to look at Canvas, it might go ahead and do that. I think it's an extension that we can add on here. Let me look that up.
Thank you.
And I'll get that to you. But absolutely, we want to make sure that our ELL students get that. Okay, so on More Public Schools, there's a link. You can go through EdTech and actually find the EdTech YouTube channel. Sometimes I get a little bit lazy, so I just go to YouTube and I search for More EdTech, and it takes me directly to their page. Or it did. I have it on here. Maybe it's More Public Schools. Oh my goodness. It's not finding it. There it is. So you can subscribe to that channel and you'll be able to see all the More Public Schools stuff. Within the actual website, it's going to be under EdTech. And it's going to be under PD. So there's the EdTech Professional Development. And it's going to be on the PD on demand. So here's the stuff that we've been doing. But the EdTech stuff is on the PD. There's the EdTech YouTube. Okay, so the Bitmoji one that I was talking about is right here. And this is a great place to figure out how to use Google Slides into the classrooms. All right, there's a couple of different ideas that we've kind of gotten. Has anybody used Boom cards?
Planning on it.
Yes,
Okay.
I do. I use Boom cards.
I do.
That was one of the big ahas for a lot of the special ed teachers, was being able to use Boom cards through like a Zoom session or through Microsoft Teams. And so there's a couple of really good resources for that. One was boomlearning.com. And they have a lot of Boom cards. You can make your own Boom cards. And so this is a really good way. The students don't have to have accounts. They can do a fast play. And so if you're on a Zoom, and then they do have it, looks like they have Zoom Boom cards in Spanish.
Okay, what if you have bought a subscription though? Can you link the subscription to your class?
Let me look that one up. That might be a Michelle Hammond.
I did.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Good. How did you do that roster? Did you have to send them the information, or did you just put that in manually?
I just put my kids'
yeah.
name.
Yeah, I mean, for Boom itself, you create your own classes and you can create different
Perfect.
levels like this. But what my question is if we were doing distance learning and if I can't do a task box and I need them to do Boom cards, I want to know that,
Yes.
you know, because they have in my Boom account that I have, you have to pick special icons for their own password. So that's why I'm wondering,
Good.
is that going to be something that they're still going to have to do if I'm linking this as well?
Yes, the way I have it as a URL linked into my thing. They click on that, and I've given the parents, I'm going to give the parents the login information, and the parents will have to log them in, and I already got the assignments ready to go for them.
Okay. So those are great ways to do interactive activities with the students where maybe, you know, it's almost hands-on, being able to make those selections. And again, there's some great videos on special education teachers using Boom cards through Zoom and through Microsoft Teams. So those are also great ones. I'm going to link, I've got a new playlist on my YouTube channel of different special education teachers who are kind of sharing their experiences. We've got some schools who have already started. So we'll be able to learn from some of those successes and failures as they go through. So that's always good. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Oh, how-to videos. Let's go back to this course real quick. One of the things that I want you to look at are really easy ways to kind of set up your courses. So I like to use the calendar icon as I go through and create my courses, just because things change. And so what you were planning on doing on Monday, you may now have to move to Tuesday. And so you can take those assignments as you create them and just drag them and drop them to new dates right here on your calendar. Now, your students will be able to see this same calendar as well. So you should model this for the students. So when a student opens up their Canvas page and it goes to their dashboard initially, I want you to model for them in the classroom how to look at their to-do list. So here we've got your to-do list, or a teacher's to-do list, and this is going to show you things that students have submitted that you need to grade. But for your students, this is going to tell them the assignments that they need to complete in the order that they are due. So this is a great way of getting them to stay on track and stay on top of their assignments, and this will combine all of their classes, okay? I also want you to model to the students or the parents, depending upon the ability level, is the calendar. The calendar has a great feature. It has the week list. So this is probably going to seem overwhelming for some of your students, but you can look at it on a week level. And so they can see their schedule for that week, what's due and when it's due. They can also look at it, and this is the one I have found most useful for the students, is the agenda. And so it's basically just a list. And so they can click on each assignment in order and walk through each one. So for some of your parents who get too overwhelmed with Canvas pages and where do I go and what do I link on and everything else, they can just go right here and just work on these in order with their kids. So this is the first assignment I have due. So this is the one I'm going to click on, and it's going to take me to that assignment. Yes, Angela.
I had a couple of questions. I have mine set up on pages. So like I have like reading and language and all that.
Yes.
So can I put an assignment on the pages?
Yes, you can. So within each page, you can do a link to another portion of Canvas, an assignment, a quiz, anything else. So let's say that within here, we are going to add a page, and this page is just going to be called reading.
Okay.
And you can have your entire schedule in here. You can have it listed like a calendar, but let's say I want to put in Monday's reading assignment. Whatever text I want them to click on, or if it's an image, I can have an image on here as well. and I'm going to click on this link button. Instead of an external link, it's just going to be a course link, something within Canvas. So I can link that to assignments or files or pages or modules or anything else. So I can just put a link to all of my assignments right there. There's assignment 1. So now when they click on this, it goes straight to assignment 1. And then I can put Tuesdays. This is how I did the high school classes that I taught last year. Each day was just a link to an assignment. So they only had to go to the one page, and each day I would just add a link to that particular assignment, whether it was a quiz or a video or anything else. And so then when the students see this, Monday they click on Mondays, Tuesday they click on Tuesdays, and it just takes them directly to that assignment. Great question.
My other question was, I don't know how does the rubric, how do you do the rubric?
Okay, let's create a rubric real quick. You have to create the assignment first. Once you create and save the assignment, then you can go ahead and add a rubric. Now, if you are doing your own rubrics, you simply come in here and you add a criteria. Your criteria might be, one that I like to use is name. We still want to model best practices. So if they have their name on the paper that they submit, then they get full credit. If they don't have their name on the paper, they get 0 points. You can also add in different ratings. So let's say that they have their name, but it's misspelled. Then they would get 3 points for that. So you can add partial credit to that as well. You can also do criteria such as one of their goals. So their goal might be correct spelling in their document or in their assignment. And so as you go through, you can assign that rubric. You can assign different ranges, and we're going to do another one. We're going to say they get 2 points if and you can make this as complete as you want, or just a few items. Just make sure that your total points for your rubric add up to the total points for the assignment. You can also do standards based. If your goal is to pass specific standards, you can come in here and you can search through. We're going to find accounts. Moore has already uploaded all of the OAS standards for all subjects.
What about our kids that are functional, that are on alternative standards?
You would probably have to just put those in on your own, because
okay.
I think those are, correct me if I'm wrong, those are pretty student specific, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So you would just create those on your, you would just add an outcome.
Okay.
For each student. Yeah, absolutely. Now, once you have that rubric created, when you go to grade the assignment, on the speed grader, you can just click through those buttons on the rubric. Yes, they got full marks for spelling, they got partial marks for their name, they got full marks for being able to display a skill, and it'll automatically count up those points and assign them for the grade level. So those rubrics are really good, especially if you're doing functional and you're just doing skills, because the parents can also see that rubric. And so the parents can see where the students need help and where they're showing mastery. So those are great areas for feedback. Okay, we have 51 new messages. Oh, Emily is staying on top of those. Great job. Hold on just a second.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
And for the functional kids, is there a way to link on our page like the speech page? So they wouldn't have to go to my Canvas page and then go to the speech page for speech activities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they would have
just go to mine. I'm sorry, what?
You cannot link another course in to your course. Okay. So their student dashboard, they would have one course card for your class, and then they would have another course card for speech.
Okay.
And that's a great point. I kind of skipped over that. Let me show you guys, and this is super important for those of you who have non-rostered courses. So speech, OT, pull out where you don't actually have an IC rostered list for students. You can still create your own group, and you're just going to add the students in manually. So you would just come over here to add people, and if you had 10 students that you pull out each day from K through second, then you would just add their email addresses and it would send them a copy of your course. So they would see it just like it's rostered on IC. Obviously the grade sync wouldn't work because you don't have any grades to sync back and forth, but that could be ELL students, speech students, your monitoring students. Maybe they're not even pull out, you just do a weekly monitoring. You can have your own course card for them as well. Great question. All right, there was a comment in here that I saw about Zoom membership. We are not doing a district Zoom license. The cost was pretty excessive. However, you can still have a Zoom account, the free account, and it should work for what you need. You can have up to 100 members on it. You can record for up to 40 minutes at a time. However, you also have access to Microsoft Teams meetings, and that is something that will work with your rostered list. And in Microsoft Teams, you can add your, and so your students can log in and you can actually use the Teams. I've used this a couple of times with some classes. It doesn't have all of the same functionality as Zoom. However, Microsoft has told us that they are going to be adding a lot of features to Microsoft Teams video conferencing that makes it very similar to the Zoom. So as we come through the year, you should see some of the features in Zoom start to pop up on Microsoft Teams, like being able to have breakout sessions and stuff like that. Okay, so these are really good. Once you create a team, it'll have an option for you to go ahead and create a conference call. All right, excellent. Is there anything else that we have not covered? I think I got everything on my notes. All right.
I had a question, Wendy. So this is going to be sent out to us and you will add personal things if we ask you to?
I've already put this on the More Public School Commons. So you can import it directly as it is. And then if you want any additional icons, just send me a little link. Let's do that Canva for just a second, okay? So let me show you how I made all of these cutesy things because it's really not that difficult. If you're a Google teacher and you want to use Google Slides, by all means, keep using Google Slides. If you are really good at using PowerPoint to create your images, keep using PowerPoint. I used Canva for this. So for instance, insert your own banner right here. What I did is I went to Canva and I hit, oh, if you're gonna do Canva, make sure you ask for the Canva for Educators. They're giving free pro accounts to all teachers right now. And it's amazing. It's normally $150 a year and they're giving it to you for free. So I'm going to do a custom width, and I have found that 1200 by like 300 works really well. Always err on the larger size because it's easier to shrink down. If you make yours too small and you have to expand it, it loses resolution. And I am not a creative person. So I like to use the templates. So if you come in here and find something that you like, click on that and then just go ahead and edit it. Okay, so I would put my poor name doesn't fit everywhere. Okay, and so you can edit that however you want. This background you can use for any of your buttons. So you can take this background and you can copy it into a button, and you would just download that as a PNG and use it in your file. Literally, that's all it takes. Okay. Now what I did is I liked the chalkboard background. So I went in and uploaded just a standard picture of chalkboard that I got off the internet. And so I can use that as my background.
How did you create the buttons?
I will show you that because it was super fun. So now I have a chalkboard background from my picture, and I can add text or whatever I want to on top of that. Okay, so for my buttons, I did another a design, and this time I made my custom dimensions a square. So I think I did 300 by 300. And I used elements. For my buttons, I stay in elements. I don't use photos. I don't use templates. I keep it super simple. Within elements, they have frames, and I used this kind of semi-fancy frame there. And then I just put my background on it.
Oh, that is easy.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a lot of the design stuff there. And then I just went over to text, and I found a text that I liked. And if you get the Canva for Educator accounts, you get these fancy ones. So you can do colors. And so I would put like Zoom. I could change the font. I can change the color.
Okay.
You know, lots of different stuff. But the one thing that I like about Canva is that I can easily add icons. So remember, I told you I don't go to photos. I stay in the elements icons because I can do stuff like if it's computer time, it gives me great simple graphics for computers. And so for those pre-readers, those emerging readers, those, you know, nonverbals, this is going to be super simple.
Okay.
So there's my button. It's done. I download it. It's going to save it onto my computer. And then I'm going to go back to my page. Now, luckily, I've already set this up with a table, so everything lines up really nicely. All I have to do is add a row at the bottom and insert my image. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit tab, so it makes a new row. And then I'm going to insert that image. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to click it off my download. Okay, now it's a little bit big, right? No big deal. I'm going to change the size. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to image options, and I forget what I use. It looks like maybe 150. And it's always easier to scale down than scale up. So now I can make that image a link to anything I want. I can link it to a website. I can link it to an email address. I can link it to another portion of my Canvas course, an assignment, a quiz, a page, a module, whatever I want. Okay, so, and here's the really cool thing. I can come back up here to Canva, and same design, same picture, same everything. I can just start pushing out buttons. So you can leave the font the same. You can change the image and just keep download after download. I changed the name of it up here so that when I upload my images. I know which one I'm uploading, but you can sit here for an hour and create hundreds of buttons, just anything you want. And then if you come back a week later and you want to add a new button, but you don't remember what font you used, Canva will save a copy of all of the designs that you make. So let's say I want to go back and there's the buttons that I used for my numbers. I have a new student. I need a new number. I open that up. Oh, this was really fun. So the number 10, I just came in here to photos and I did number 11. So I have a new button for a new student, 30 seconds. So I would change this to 11 and I would download it, and now I have another button. So some people get really intimidated by the buttons, but they're really simple to make on Canva. And once you kind of get that process, just kind of use it over and over. Do not find yourself at 3 o'clock in the morning still trying to design the perfect button. And I'm not going to call you out, but I know several of you have done it because I have done it too. So just pick something, create it, move on. Okay, let's see. Emily, is there anything else in the chat that we need to go over? Okay, oh, Emily had to go to another training, sorry. No big deal. Let's go through the last messages and see. Okay, so to clarify, I would have only one course, but a module for each of my subjects or levels. Absolutely, unless you wanted to do multiple courses, it's completely up to you. If you want to have, if you're doing a wide range of students, or if you have a group of 504s and a group of IEPs, then you can have different courses for both of those. It just depends on how you want to contain those. If you have the option of assigning something to more than one group, then you're going to want to put those in the same course card. So you only have to create that assignment once. If two different groups are going to have two entirely different curriculums, you might want to put those in separate course cards just to keep that straight, but that's completely up to you. Okay, let's see. Okay, how do we add a published picture? Okay, make sure that you're using copyrights. So if you want to use photos that are out there, there's a couple of different ways. There is Pixabay is a good place to find photos because everything on here is royalty free.
Wendy?
Yep.
What I meant by that question was like, I mean, obviously I guess I can't use Starfall, but like when you added the unique picture or something like that.
Oh, okay. Shh, I didn't tell you this. Okay. All right. Emily's logged off, so maybe I won't get in trouble for this. But all right, so here's what I did. I went to, let's just do Canvas. And I did Canvas icon as a Google search. And then I clicked on images. And I literally just right-clicked and saved the image. So this is a super easy way to make buttons that actually have the icons for the individual ones. So for instance, if you had Starfall, you would just do an image search for Starfall. And I would literally right click on that and save it as the image. Now,
it's too late.
The biggest thing on this one is, especially if you already have a subscription to Starfall, you're not using it for personal gain. You're not using the image for profit. You're using the image for fair use education. So I'm pretty sure even under copyright laws, you'd be okay, but I didn't say that. Okay, so let's see. What else?
Hey, Wendy, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Hey, will you show them how to link Starfall?
Yes, great question. Okay, so let's say that we have a button on our homepage and we'll just use this Zoom button that we just made. And we want to, this is going to be our Starfall icon. So when they click that, they want to go straight to Starfall. So what I would do on my computer is I would go to,
I'm sorry. The Starfall, I'm Monica. The Starfall, this is what we have found out. Oh, nice guy without a shirt on behind you.
I have 4 teenagers. I am not responsible for anything that walks by.
Here's what I found out is Starfall, we can link it in Clever.
Good.
But then the kids will have to log in.
Sure. So let me show you both ways for that.
But
so
if you had, they won't be able to log in from home because it's IP based.
The Starfall is IP based?
Yes. And so it will only work on the school's computers, which is very frustrating.
Okay, well, let me go over this, just whatever program you happen to use. So if you were using Starfall, you would just navigate to that website and copy the URL, and that would be your external link. So on your icon, instead of a course link, you're going to add an external link, and you would just put in that website. And see how it looks a little bit different here? You've got HTTPS and / and all sorts of stuff. So that's why it's best to go ahead and actually navigate it. And when you copy it, it's going to give the entire URL address. And so now when your students click on that, it's going to take them to whatever website. So if you have like Flocabulary, or if you have any other website that you have a license to that you've already got, Quizlet, Kahoot, stuff like that, you can go ahead and put that directly onto a button. You can also have a button just for Clever. So for instance, under moreschools.com, if you navigate to the Clever link, this is how you usually have the students go. If you will right click on that button and you're going to copy the link address, hold on for just a second. Sorry, doing this from home has been fun. Okay, so you would right click on the button that they would normally press, and you're going to copy that link address, and then you simply put that link address as your external. So you would go down to whatever button you wanted to assign that to, and you're going to first remove the old link, and we're going to then add the new link. And so what happens then is the same thing that would happen, not sure that took. When they click on that Clever button in the classroom. So when they saw that Clever icon, it would take them straight to their Clever sign-in page. And obviously this is something that you would model in the classroom, in the computer lab, on the iPads, that they would go in and they would use their Office 365 login or their badges. Now their badges will still work from home if they have a camera on their computer. So if they're using a laptop or a cellular device, that Clever badge is still going to work. Otherwise they need to use the Office 365 login.
Do they need to open that in a separate window though to get back to Canvas, or once you're done, will it automatically take you back to Canvas?
I think it automatically opens it up as a separate window for external links. So then you could go back. I don't think with links you can choose that, but let's check. So sometimes if you click on that, you can do link options. Yeah, it doesn't have, it's just going to send them to a separate window. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the rubrics are great for your functional kids to give that feedback to the parents as to what they need to be working on. And please remember, I mean, think about that first week of school where you have to show your paras how to interact with certain students based upon their needs. You may have to go over those same instructions with your parents, because for some of these parents, they don't have the same tool set that you have in teaching their kids and getting them to work through all of this stuff. So some of that stuff that we kind of take for granted, that pedagogy of special education, your parents aren't quite familiar with them. Some of them are. Some of them are just self-taught, amazing special ed parents, but some of them are going to need that documentation. So there's a couple of links out there that have some really good instructions for parents. And I've got a couple of them saved. I might add them to your documents. You can put boom cards into Canvas. Let me go ahead, and there's a couple of videos on how to put boom cards into Canvas, and I will link those. The best place to do that, though, is through some of your video sessions, like your Microsoft Teams or your Zooms. All right, you guys are asking a ton of questions. That is fantastic. I want to make sure that I don't miss one. Okay, if you have a document that you need to be translated into Spanish, let me get with the ELL teachers and see if they, Google Translate doesn't always work, but there might be a couple of other ones. So let me get with the ELL teachers and find out the best way to go ahead and get those translated for the parents. All right. Oh, great. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, someone said, did you talk about the workaround for submitting PDF using Office 365? Okay. So I'm still playing with this, but let me show you what it kind of looks like. So there is a website, and there's a bunch of different ones, but the one that I use most frequently is PDF Escape. What this does, it allows me to create a PDF document with fields that the students can fill in. So normally you would make a photocopy for the students and they would write their answers on the worksheet. We don't have that option because your parents aren't able to print. So what you can do is, I've already created an account and I've just used my Google More Public Schools address. All right, and I'm just going to create a new PDF file. So I'm going to upload, and I'm just going to choose a random PDF file. I don't know if I have any on my, let's see. Okay, so this is just a schedule pickup letter that went out, but it's a PDF file, so it won't be that big of a deal. So if this is one of your worksheets, you would come over here to form field. We're going to do a text form field. And wherever you wanted the students to put an answer, you would just put a text box. So imagine that these are each questions. And then when you save that document, it's going to, we're going to save and download. When your students open up that file, now it has fields where they can type answers. To answer the documents. And so you can simply insert this PDF into your assignment. The added step is you're going to have the students save it to their computer and then submit it as a file upload.
I wish I had that last year when I was doing algebra.
Me too. Me too. Absolutely. I was doing pre-AP geometry last year, and if I had some of the best worksheets in the world, but they were not editable. And you don't want to give, especially like with algebra, you don't want to give your kids a copy of the Word assignment because the formatting always messes up when they download it. And if they don't have the right fonts, then things don't always mesh very well. So this is a really good one. I've been using this quite a bit lately. So play around with it. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you want. There is a freehand option here so that you can make annotations to it. So you can circle stuff and underline it. And if you have an inkable service, then you can write some handwritten instructions and stuff like this. So
Okay,
you
quick
can even,
question, just to
yeah.
make sure I'm understanding this.
Yeah.
So like if I have an assignment and I upload it onto one of my, 5th grade reading or whatever, so that student cannot go in and like write on that worksheet through Canvas and send it back to me? They have.
Okay, so there's a couple of different options. Because not all of the students are going to have inkable devices. Some of them are going to be accessing this from an old desktop computer or even a cell phone. So you kind of have to think about that as you're setting up the assignment. So if it's a standard worksheet, you might have them write the answers on a piece of notebook paper and then just take a picture and send you that feedback. And so that's why I use the file uploads as an available submission type. If you're doing something like this editable PDF, you can click on here and we're going to insert that file that we just added the fields to. And I'll show you what that looks like on a student side of it. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that they have an online submission type. I'm going to publish it. We're going to make sure that it's in a published module. Okay, assignment 1 is in a published module. See, I'm learning. And then we're going to go to student view and I'm going to show you what that's going to look like on their end. Okay, so we're going to do assignment 1. This is the PDF. So they can go ahead and download a copy of that PDF to their computers just by clicking on it. They would go ahead and save their answer. And then they're going to save this copy. So we're going to say
Hush.
Wendy's assignment. All right, so then when I go to submit, I'm going to choose my file and I'm going to upload that Wendy's assignment that I just saved.
Stop it, Daisy.
And I'll get my little confetti. And then as a teacher, I would come to assignment and I would come over here to SpeedGrader. Oh, I didn't assign it to a student group.
So students wouldn't be able to actually do that on their iPhones, would they? Or their cell phones? They would really have to
They actually would.
Would they?
PDFs can be opened and edited on iPhones and you can save them as a file on your iPhone.
Okay.
I didn't think it could be done, but my kids figured out how to do it. So,
okay.
And another thing, and this is really good, if you have students who are going to be using cell phones, go ahead and download the Canvas for Teacher app because Student View in that will show you what the students see on their iPhones because it opens it in the Canvas Student app. So that's a great.
Have you heard of the Kami extension that some people are using? And it used to be free. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, it is still, it's $99 for a year for a teacher subscription right now. There is a free version of it. And what you can do is you can add it in as an app. And I think I've added it for this one because I was playing around with it the other day. Let's see if I did. Yes, so I added the extension within Kami. And what this does, you have to go through here and click on a link and it gives you the consumer key and the shared key. I've already done that. What it does is it gives you an external tool where you can add your Google Slides and your Google Docs. I don't think, as of right now, it says that it works with OneDrive, but I have not been able to get it work. get it to work. So it integrates with Canvas and Google Classroom. And if one of you is a Kami user that has a free account, I might get with you later and see how well this integration works. But the way that you would use it is within your assignment, instead of an online submission, you would do an external submission tool. Okay, Canvas has gotten really good at asking you, you didn't save that last thing. Do you still want to use it? Okay, so instead of online, I would do external tool. And after you install that app, one of the tools that comes up is the Kami Google Drive assignment. And so that enables them to edit your Google Slides. So it links to your Google Drive.
Is there a way under submission to actually do the online submission and a paper submission? Because that would come in really handy for the students that want to hand in their work when we go back face to face, and those students that are doing it online.
When you are face to face, they do not have to do an electronic submission. You can still accept that paper copy. So
I know, I was just trying to make it streamlined.
I know. No, but what you can do is you could just copy that assignment and change. So you could have, if you wanted to do online, have assignment 1 online and then assignment 1 paper.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
but you can't choose both of them.
So I have a technology opinion question. Since you are ed tech,
okay.
I have my own personal laptop, but I am thinking of getting a Microsoft Office Pro or the Surface.
The Surface Pro?
Yes. Would you recommend the Surface Pro? Would I be able to do everything that I'm able to do on the laptop?
Okay.
Because I don't want to spend that cash if I can't do what I'm doing on my laptop.
Right, absolutely. Here's the biggest thing with the Surface products is their inking ability. They have an inking ability that is very close to the iPad inking ability, and they have their own Microsoft Surface pens that work really good. I have a Surface. I don't have the Surface Pro, but I really like the ability to ink and record. And so basically I can teach a lesson from this laptop at home, write everything down and record it using like Loom or PowerPoint record. And then it's very much just like putting it on the smartboard. And even when I was in the classroom, there were times where I would ink through the Surface Pro instead of the smartboard just because I had that mobility. So I personally like the Surface. Some people don't. If you are just looking for something to ink, then any iPad would work as well, any of those types of models. But really, for the majority of what you're going to be using, you can try and find like an all-in-one tablet computer. So it's basically just a laptop with a touch screen that allows you to ink on it. And so if you go to like Best Buy or Office Max, they have some that you can kind of play with. But in all reality, I mean, you shouldn't have to spend more money.
I like technology. Doesn't mean I want to spend the money. I just trying to figure out the easiest, and for me, because we have so much on our plates, you want something that is quickly accessible and it's not going to crash, because I have a gaming computer that just at times will get the blue screen of death. And you're like, I was in the middle of something and now I have to restart.
Right. For stability purposes, the Apple products are the best, but they're more expensive. But I love my Surface.
I'm not an Apple guru. I don't even have an iPhone.
No, the Apple products are absolutely great. Okay, so are there any other comments that I have missed? Let's see. Oh, you guys are doing some collaboration already. That is fantastic. I love that. Share each other's email addresses. Okay, all right. Anything new? There are 18 new messages. Okay, the term ink. The term ink basically means you have a pen or a stylus, not a regular pen, it has to be a stylus, and you can write on a touch screen and that image comes up on the screen. So for instance, you saw me in this PDF Escape document. I did freehand. This is inking. Okay, so if I had a pen, I could actually write handwriting. Your students are not going to have pens, they're just going to have a mouse, so you can have them put an X on the triangle or circle the red objects or simple things like that depending upon their dexterity. So when we talk about inking, it's kind of like drawing on a document with a pen or a stylus. Great question. Let's see. Okay, how to take the border off of a table. So you're just basically going to change the border to 0. So let me go back to one of the pages where I've done that. So here's a page. I set it up with a table, and you'll notice that we didn't see any of the lines. So I took the table icon, I went to table properties, and I changed the border width to 0. Okay. If you click the Advanced tab, you could do things like change the border color. You could just set it to white or set it to the same as your background. You can also change the background color, so those are an options, but it's just easier just to turn it to 0. Great question. Okay. Will PDF Escape work on my school laptop? Yes, it is web-based, and so, okay, PDF Escape, for some reason is not on the whitelist for more public schools right now. I'm working on getting it on the whitelist. So as soon as I get that, you'll be able to use it on the school laptop as well. There's a desktop app, but I think you have to have admin permissions to download that onto a school laptop. So there are some other PDF editing software. You can kind of search around and find another one that works well. Okay, all right, so I know we went over an hour, but I didn't want to limit you guys. So let me go ahead and put this short survey on here. This is not required for PD points. If you put your email address in the group chat, I will go ahead and get you the PD points, but you can go ahead and fill out this survey if you have another question that we weren't able to cover in the training. One more comment. Do you know what snipping tool you should use on a Mac computer? It's called GripIt. I'm not familiar with how to use it, but it's supposed to be the same as Snippet for a Macintosh. So you guys can go ahead and do that. I'm also going to put the link on here for my personal YouTube channel and the More Public Schools YouTube channel, so that you can go back and look at some of those. Professional development, and that's where we will post this video when it's finished uploading.
Where is that survey that we can link into?
On the chat room.
Okay.
It's up a little ways. https://forums.office.com. Okay, so here is, and I'm going to put it on the chat. Here's the YouTube channel for EdTech. And then here is my EdTech YouTube channel as well. All right. Oh, great. Okay, so Control-Command-4 is the icon. I'm assuming that's for the GripIt tool on Macintosh. Thank you, Shannon, for adding that. Excellent. Okay, well, just know that regular educators are starting to appreciate what you guys are doing more than ever. Okay, so stay strong, don't freak out, give yourself some grace. It's not going to be like anything that we think it's going to be like. You know, it's always just a little bit different, but we will adapt and figure it out. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I will leave the chat open for a little while so that you can have access to those YouTube channels. And
find the chat room.
Oh, click Alt-H on your computer. And that should bring up the chat. If not, let me go ahead and just go back. So if you write down this, MPS EdTech, you can search for this on YouTube and you will find that YouTube channel.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble finding the survey.
Let me put it on there again.
Yeah, that's I can't get to.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, there it is. Do you see it?
But I can't click on to answer anything.
Oh. Are you signed in to your school account?
Well, yes, I come through Canvas to do it, but I always get numbers up there, and I asked Emily how to fix that, but it hasn't been fixed yet.
Okay. What's your email address? And I can just email it to you.
Colleen Iello, I-A-S as in Sam, I-E-L-L-O.
Yeah, it's not giving me permission to log on.
Okay, let me update real quick.
Oh, wait a minute. I just found it.
I'm going to change
Or
this
you
to
just put
anyone
it
with
up.
the link can respond. And I think that's gonna fix it. Let's try that. Now you don't have to be signed in as More Public Schools. Try that link.
That worked. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. All right, if you're having trouble, try this last link. I keep forgetting to change that.
Wendy, I had a quick question.
Yes.
I'm lab and I'll have 2 grade levels, 3rd and 4th. And I have currently 1 course set up though. And then on my homepage, I have a button for 3rd grade and I have a button for 4th grade.
Perfect.
Although my course, I've done the modules and I have a 4th grade module and a 3rd grade module and then them underneath that. I know designates them differently, but I should be able to, as I understand it, link each grade level modules to just the 3rd grade students and the 4th grade one to just the 4th grade students.
It's the assignments where you'll make that split. So when you go to assign something, you will only assign it to your 3rd grade sections or you will only assign it to your 4th grade sections.
Okay, but if they click on 3rd grade, so they'll see the whole module and everything. So 3rd and 4th will see both modules then?
Yes, possibly. But when they click on, like if you do a link to their module,
right,
no matter where on that list it is, it's just going to take them to their 3rd grade module.
Right.
They may still be able to see the others, but it's going to focus in on theirs and they'll be able to see those assignments. They won't be able to click on any assignment in the 4th grade if they're 3rd grade. They may see it, but they won't be able to click on it.
Okay, because I put videos and lessons and everything in the information prior to the assignments.
Yes.
So if they accidentally click on the wrong one, they'll be able to see it, but not do the work.
Now you can add the instructions and the videos to the beginning of the assignment. I have seen some teachers do that. So the assignment has that pre-material already.
Yeah, I've been embedding them, especially since they're lab students, to have that prior to the assignment. So, okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have
And also,
I still cannot figure out how to get to this to fill out the survey, and I want my professional development points.
You don't need to do the survey for your professional development points as long as your name, oh, you didn't get to put your name in the chat box either.
No.
Okay. Are you using a computer or a phone?
Computer.
You're using the computer. And is it a PC or a Mac?
No, go ahead. PC.
Okay. And when you clicked on Alt H, it didn't bring up the chat box?
Nope.
Okay. What happens when you press the Alt button just by itself?
No.
Okay.
Maybe it ain't the best of times, but it ain't the worst either.
All right. No
Oh,
problem.
wait. It just came up. It says press Alt to show or hide meeting controls is what popped up.
Right. So that the meeting controls is where you'll see the word chat.
Oh. Okay. And now click on this link.
Mm-hmm.
It's a miracle.
Yay! Good job. Awesome.
Thank you for being patient.
No problem.
Wendy,
Yes.
this is June Waters.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever I clicked on the link for the survey,
Mhm.
it didn't work for me either. But when I try to go back to the Zoom meeting, I can still see you, but it just says Zoom on the screen. So
Right.
I did comment in the chat, but not. I mean,
No
I
problem.
commented, but my name isn't my email. I didn't put in there or anything.
It's not a problem. I'll go ahead and copy this over again. When you get back into the Zoom, it clears the chat. So do you see it now?
Well, I tried and it won't let me back in. I even went to the email and re-clicked on the link to try to get back.
Oh, okay. No
and
problem.
it won't let me. It just says Zoom on the screen.
Okay. I'll send it to you. So Charlotte Jones?
June Waters.
June Waters. You said that. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. There is the link to the form. I'm sending it to you now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.